You've focused on a problem, you've analyzed it, and now you should be ready to develop solutions. You know what you want to change, and now we're going to try to make sure that that change happens. The output of the development phase of this program is an innovative solution and an implementation plan. You know, very often teams get together and they need to be held back. They need to go through the process that we've talked about. Otherwise, they just want to leap ahead to solutions. Let's take a look at Bob, Director of Sales at our pyramid building shop, and see what happens to his team when a team member wants to leap ahead with a solution that the team hasn't even identified or analyzed.
Okay, I think I've got the solution.
Solution to what?
The problem.
Whoa, what problem?
That unused section of the pyramid near the river?
That's not what we chose to work on. It's how to keep the pyramids dry.
Never mind that. Just listen to my solution. Come on,
Oh, hold on, Jack. That section isn't even in our marketing plan.
I know, but that's why this is such a great idea.
So let's hear it already.
Okay, look. We have 950 square hectares of unused space, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I just heard that the Pharaoh has decided to relocate the palace guard. It's perfect.
You mean lease that space to the palace guard? Are you kidding? Why do you think that space is empty in the first place, Jack?
Oh, come on, Charlie. Why get bogged down in details when we already have a solution? I mean, that's what this group is all about. Right, Bob?
Yeah, but I'm not
It
sure.
would cost a fortune to make that space usable, Bob.
Jack, have you seen that section?
I sure have done. It's right here. What a magnificent opportunity. 950 square hectares. And every one with a river view.
Oh, they have a river view, all right. And not just out the window.
What do you mean, Marie?
She means you can see the river in your living room. That space gets flooded all the time. That's why it's empty.
Then my idea is even better than I thought.
Wait a second, Jack. Charlie does have a point. Aren't we getting ahead of ourselves a little here?
Not at all, Bob. We just play up the fact that the rooms come with running water.
Jack, Pharaoh can't be expecting any return on the space. I mean, why get into this?
Oh, no, wait a second, Don. Leasing the space might be a good opportunity.
Look, I agree, but let's face it. There's no money in the budget for developing that area. And no matter what we do, it's going to take a lot of money.
Not if we go with my solution. Besides, whatever we get, it's better than nothing.
Well, you can count me out of the whole thing. I'm not selling any flooded apartments to people that throw spares for them.
Yeah, so we'll do it without you. Just don't expect any commission.
The added commission sure would be nice. And if we could turn a profit on that space, Pharaoh sure wouldn't complain about that.
That's right. So what do you say?
I say, let's go for it.
I say you're crazy. You don't even know what the problem is. You haven't even got an implementation plan.
Oh, who needs a plan? Someone takes the idea to the captain of the guard and runs some numbers on a standard lease.
It seems to me we should...
Oh, come on, Bob. This could make us the top sales team of the year. We might even win that trip to Mesopotamia.
Sales, Bob speaking. What? Yeah, Jack works for me. No, wait a second. Don't you think that's a little bit extreme? I mean, you can't feed him to the lions just because you don't like the terms of the lease. Now, I know the palace guards work really hard, but, you know, that space is not flooded all the time. Okay, look, we're going to forget the whole thing, all right? Just do me a favor, please. Let Jack go. He hasn't even made his quarterly numbers yet. Yeah, thanks. Look, I really appreciate this, and I owe you one, okay? Bye-bye. There's got to be a better way to develop a solution.
Yes, Bob, there is a better way to develop a solution. The first thing you have to do is generate a list of promising solutions, and then select one and develop an action plan. We have some tools to help you do that. Innovation transfer, cost-benefit analysis, standard operating procedure, force field analysis, and action plans. you remember earlier in the program we talked about brainstorming and selection grid? Right now would be a very appropriate time to use those techniques to help develop innovative solutions. But sometimes groups get stuck. In spite of their best efforts, they simply can't come up with any innovative ideas. Innovation transfer is a very handy and helpful way to get unstuck. For example, all you do is try to visualize what life would be like if you didn't have the problem that you're working on. And then think of a similar situation. For example, in my office, where company's growing very rapidly, people are running out of space, and some of the consultants are complaining about bunk desks. So we were searching for better ways of utilizing our space, and we did innovation transfer. Since we all travel so much, someone thought that our cramped quarters reminded them a lot of cramped luggage and trying to cram more clothes into smaller suitcases. So we brainstormed approaches that would help the luggage problem, and then used those approaches to help brainstorm how we could better utilize our space. When you go through that process, you then simply combine the brainstorming possibilities to come up with a better solution. Let's see how the sales team at the Pyramid Shop does an innovation transfer to get unstuck with their problem.
All factors point to this, that based on the data, the most important contributing factor to the pyramids getting so damp every month is the overflowing of the river.
Okay, I've got the solution.
Oh, you've got it all right. And I wish you'd take it somewhere else.
Now, wait. Before we start attacking each other, and before we start rushing into another solution, let's spend a few minutes just visualizing how the space might be if we could eliminate the problem. Don, why don't you go first?
That's easy. Dry floors, dry walls.
Right. People signing leases. We're collecting our commission.
No water flooding in from the river?
Oh, I can imagine the space being very comfortable if it's dry, and the water's contained outside.
Okay. Now, let's continue our innovation transfer. Think of a situation different from this one, but where a similar problem occurs. Something that we all have experience with. Anything.
Tennis with the courts getting wet.
I've got it. Food. Food mildewed by dampness.
This is hopeless. We might as well just pack it up and go on vacation.
Vacation. Now, what do you think, guys? I mean, we've all been on a vacation that's been ruined by bad weather.
Yeah, I like it. Is that okay with you, Charlie?
Well, sure.
Okay. Vacation.
So what's the next step?
Now, when you think of vacation, and you think about keeping dry and comfortable, what springs to mind?
Well, I think of being in the desert so you don't get wet. But the pyramid's already in the desert, so where's the solution?
All right, all you got to do is try to brainstorm, Charlie. You don't have to think of a solution for a minute here. Now, you said that you go to the desert to avoid getting wet, right? So we'll call yours avoid wet places. Now, I got one, lying in the sun. Anybody else?
Palm trees. You know, sitting under the shade of some palm trees.
Palm trees. Okay, great.
Umbrellas? I always take an umbrella with me.
A towel. Bring a dry, comfortable towel to lie on.
Okay, great. Now, we want to take these ideas and we want to transfer them to our flooded pyramid problem. Charlie, why don't you take one of these ideas?
Well, hey, listen, I got two. Now, we give a free umbrella to everyone that comes to look at the place, and when they come, we wrap a towel around their head so they can't see the water.
Be serious. I think this can get us somewhere. Now, when I think of lying in the sun, I think of exposing the pyramid space to hot, dry air.
Palm trees reminds me of planting trees along the riverbank to absorb the overflowing water.
Hey, an umbrella keeps the water out, right? Now, what about some kind of wall along the riverbank to keep the water in?
All right. Now we're rolling.
They are rolling. They've gone through the first step in developing a solution. They've generated a list of promising solutions. But now they have to pick one. When you generate your list of promising solutions, one consideration may very well be the financial benefits derived from picking a solution. Cost-benefit analysis helps you do that. Simply go through each solution and identify the costs attached to it. And then look at the benefits for each solution in dollars and cents. When you combine both, you end up with a cost-benefit ratio. If you look at the cost-benefit ratios between each solution, you can pick one that offers the greatest payback. Sometimes people get very excited when they see exactly how much payback can be derived from a particular solution.
Hey,
Ralph, how's it going?
Oh,
Yeah, I heard. But you look much better.
Oh, yeah.
Really, yeah.
How's it going over there?
What's that?
How's it going over there?
No, not much.
Mhm.
Sales are up a little.
Oh.
And we have this really great idea to keep the inside of the pyramids dry.
Yeah, what's the...
I was a little skeptical at first,
Mhm.
but this innovation transfer, it really works.
Yeah.
Here, let me help you with that, Sam.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You got
What's that?
anything in it?
Yeah, the group narrowed it down to 2 choices.
Oh, what's that?
What's that?
What's this?
Of course, we did a cost-benefit analysis.
Oh, good.
Well, at first we had this idea to plant trees along the bank,
Uh-huh.
and that worked out to something like a 2-to-1 ratio,
Oh, good.
benefit over cost.
Uh-huh.
But this other idea, a small park with water gardens to contain all the water,
Oh,
that was way up there, almost 4-to-1.
oh. Oh, is it a bit?
Yeah, it's really going to be great for business. Now, it's been nice talking to you, Ralph, but I really got to run.
Oh, yeah.
Say hi to the wife, okay?
I will. Thanks a lot. Oh. Jack! Wait.
That's the kind of enthusiasm I was talking about. Everyone thought it was terrific, except Ralph. They've now gone through 2 of the 3 steps in developing a solution. They've generated a list of promising solutions, they've chosen one, and now they have to get down to developing an implementation plan. We have 3 tools to help you develop your implementation plan: force field analysis, action planning, and standard operating procedures. Force field analysis is a very helpful tool to help identify those forces that are going to hinder you or assist you in implementing your solution. The way you begin a force field is to simply draw a T. Write the current situation at the top center of the T. For example, our pyramid team was concerned about wet space. Place the desired situation at the top right of the T. In their case, they were concerned about trying to achieve dry space. Brainstorm for driving forces. Those are the forces that are moving you in the direction that you'd like to go. Then brainstorm for restraining forces, those things that are going to prevent you from getting there. Discuss the chart and determine which of those restraining forces can be removed. Once you take a look at it and analyze it, you'll probably determine right away whether or not your possible solution is doable. If your solution is doable and also involves changing the way things are going to be done, especially those things that are repeated over and over again, you're going to need new standard operating procedures, new ways of doing things that guarantee that everybody does them in the right order all the time. Get everyone together, brainstorm all of the activities or steps that have to be done, realign them in the proper order, and now you have some safeguards that what has to be done over and over again will be done exactly the same way each time. Now, in the case of our sales team back at the pyramid, they were implementing something totally brand new. It had never been done before. They're going to need an action plan, a detailed set of activities outlining who's going to do what, making sure that all the steps are done before this new one-time thing can be implemented. Let's see how the team uses force field analysis and action plan to implement their solution.
Okay. Does anybody have anything to add to the force field?
In terms of things going for us, driving forces, I think that's about it. But in terms of things that could get in the way, restraining forces, I'd add the fact that the construction crews are already very busy, and we're counting on them for the construction of the park.
Yeah, we better add that. Where do we go from here?
Well, it seems like it would be easier to deal with the restraining forces, try to reduce the negative impact of something that could get in the way.
Like what?
Well, take the resistance from the building crews. Suppose we involve them with the whole project from the start.
Right, and the same thing is true with the architects. Rather than dumping this thing on them, which we know is going to cause problems, why don't we get their ideas about how the park should look as well as how to contain the water?
What about that possible storm interfering with our plans?
Well, that's one of those restraining forces that you really can't do anything about. The big question is, given what we can work on, is our plan doable?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, then it looks like we have a lot of work ahead of us. How about if we drop an action plan? Make sure everybody knows exactly what they're doing.
Okay, well, let's see what each of us can do.
Good idea.
Okay, so Don, you said that you would talk to the architects and you can have a report ready for us by next week's meeting.
Right.
Great. Now, who's the best person to meet with the building crews?
I'll take that, and I'll meet the deadline.
The output of this development phase is an innovative solution and an implementation plan. Now, our focus has to be on innovation. You don't want to keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and you need to bring all the key people involved to make sure that your implementation plan works. It's hard sometimes, it's tedious to make sure that everybody's involved, but you have to do it. I'm reminded of a commissioner of parks that I worked with once because the parks were a shambles. And they hired consultants to clean up the parks, and the commissioner didn't know what to do. But he knew what was causing his problems. He told me, if you consultants can keep the people out of the parks, I can keep them beautiful. Well, we can't keep people out of the parks of innovative solutions. We need to involve everyone. If you take the time to do that, you'll be able to come up with short-term solutions and guarantee long-term prevention.